Welcome to the Forward Podcast. Here with my wife this evening, coming into the Christmas season.
Here we go.
We are gearing up for it. I feel like we are now more prepared tonight than we were this time last week.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we did get a lot done this week for sure.
Because we came into, it's a busy season for all of us. And it just doesn't matter anymore. I feel like everybody goes through the same thing where you hit this point of stressed out. We are not prepared. We do not have what we need. Some people might, but some people plan through the whole year. But for the other 99% of us, it comes to a point where we're like, we got to get things done.
Yeah.
And that was us this week.
Yeah. Yep. It was just like a week of just grit your teeth and get through it and get stuff done.
But we did.
We did.
So we want to wish your family a Merry Christmas as we head into this season. We kind of talked about last week, just kind of reaching out, helping those who can't get back, those that, it's not a great season for everyone. Unfortunately, there are those that struggle or have had a rough year. I was just thinking today of an elderly lady we lost last year at this time and passed away super suddenly, and a sweetheart of a woman, probably one of the shortest women stature-wise that I've ever known in my life. And but she was a sweetheart, and I was just thinking, man, we're coming to the second Christmas that we've lost her, and her husband's going to be alone. So for some people, it's not a great season. So how do we reach out and help them?
Yeah.
And tonight we just want to kind of talk about just going into not losing the devotion and kind of the reason for this season. Not in just a very generic way of like, oh, Jesus is the reason. Yes, we get that. But sometimes we can overdo things, and we begin to miss out on almost that magic of this season of what it's supposed to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely, I think Christmas is a time when I think it's good to have a time of year where you focus on something bigger than yourself and other people. And I like that. I know, I've kind of joked about being the Grinch because it's so busy this time of year and it's not restful, and those things are true. But it's also true at the same time that if we didn't have this time of year, it would be, I don't think we'd ever stop and focus on others and giving and things like that. So as crazy as Americans can make our own holidays and our own culture, I do think there's so many benefits to it. And I'm glad we have it. I am glad. I think it's good. It's important for kids to learn these things too. And for us to also walk through maintaining our expectations. I was just talking to my sister tonight and talking about our kids and how, gifting for our families, we're both getting a little older and aging to where you're starting to realize whoa, everything we do and the choices that we make around this time of year impacts our kids and their reasoning and what they're used to at the holidays. And someday they're going to base what they do with their families off of how we trained them and how we raised them. And so it is important. It's important to kind of stop and think okay, are we overdoing it? Are we what are we focused on?
I do. So let me ask you, going back to your childhood, what do you think are some of those? What were some of the good that you feel like, man, this was awesome, this is what I was handed down? And what do you think are man, here's why I do this because of I don't want to be this from your childhood?
I think I remember my dad, just little things Dad always went out and put lights on the bushes and trees. And now it's great that everyone has, you mentioned this morning in your sermon and I was laughing, but now everyone has the professional lights up that stay up all year and they're perfectly spaced and positioned and all that. And it is beautiful and it's amazing. Sure. You have to sell a kidney to pay for it, but it's still awesome. But I do remember the days and my mom would always get frustrated because he'd wait till the coldest evening, and she's like, why don't you do this? It was just 50 degrees last week. That was their fight every single year. It was hilarious. But he would make the boys go out and help, or sometimes we would. And it was, just that family tradition of it's cold, but we were so excited. Oh. Just stuff like that you did together. It was decorating our home. It was time with Dad. and it was you got a reward at the end, which was we'd all run out in the freezing cold and stand there and look at the house from a distance. And we would be so excited. Stuff like that was not bought, and it was not manufactured. It was those family times that you remember. A lot of times my grandmother would come down to help my mom decorate the house for Christmas, and just watching them. I remember holding my little baby-sitting kids, Zach and Nick, on my lap on the couch and watching mom and grandma decorate the back of the piano. Just those things that you don't buy, but it's traditions that you remember and that stays with you forever. And I think a lot of times we focus so much on like the gifts and wrapping and the perfect like Christmas day where the kids have what they want. And I don't remember anything I ever got. I don't.
Isn't that crazy?
I mean, I think I remember like a doll here or there, but nothing. I remember like my family way more than I do any of the gifts I ever got. What about
really
you?
Cool. So let me ask you before, I'll say mine for sure. What do you think is something that maybe was overdone? So you're like, okay, or you did not appreciate. So you've kind of want to change it for our kids, and or maybe you can't think of anything. So it's just now, what do I change? What do I do that we don't want our kids to pick up on this time of year?
I do remember two things.
Oh, wow. I got two.
I hope my parents don't listen to this. I do remember my mom and dad there was some tension in the home over money every Christmas.
Yeah, sure.
And I mean, looking back, like I feel bad now being an adult and a parent, especially. I understand. I mean, we were a ministry family. We didn't have a large income, but I do remember it being tension between my parents, and that made it more stressful. I remember being a kid and feeling really bad. Like, I felt bad that they had to get us gifts because it stressed my mom that we didn't have enough, and that it stressed my dad that we didn't have enough. It was just, I remember not liking the tension between them, and they weren't bad. I mean, they didn't ever fight to the point where it was, horrible, but I just remember the tension, and that, that's sad. And I do remember this was mostly around like Easter, but sometimes at Christmas too. It was a big deal in our culture. I don't know if it was for you guys, but Easter was like everyone had to have new clothes. And it was a big deal. Like everyone came to church in new clothes. Yep. And if you didn't, it was like
girls in hats.
It's ruined. Yeah, like
guys in
Easter
little
is
suits.
ruined.
Yep.
Christ cannot raise from the grave because I do not have a new dress. And I don't know if it was that culture all around us, but I remember growing up in that. And then I remember after we got married and one Easter, I didn't have a new dress and I didn't have time or money to go get one. And I was like, whatever. And I wore something old. And I probably for the first time in my life wore something old for Easter. And I remember thinking like, oh, wow, like I still enjoyed Easter. I still could celebrate Christ, and well, who knew?
Still worship.
And that's like a simplistic and funny example, but it's just like a silly culture that we grew up in. And I remember my mom recently, she said like, I wish I didn't do that. But I mean, she was an amazing mom. She wanted all of us to look our best. And
that's really cool.
I mean, to her credit, it was probably the one time a year my dad could afford and saved up and let her go buy new clothes for the whole family. So I'm sure it was so exciting for her.
Yeah.
I know they sacrificed many times to do that for us. So I don't even say like it was a bad thing, but I think it probably, in my mind, it was overdone. Like this dumb little culture, like I have to have new clothes for Easter. Yeah. So silly. But I just remember it as being something that probably I shouldn't have made as big of a deal in my own mind as I did.
That's really cool. I think for me, some of my, if we're talking even on the episode about just making memories, I think that's like a really good way to take this podcast is like, I think this time of year is, we ought to be very intentional about making memories.
Right.
Just because I think we all know this, but life really is very short. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of memories that you kind of wish you could go back and relive and, or people that, we've lost that you would, I mean, I never met your grandma, but what would you give to have one more Christmas with her?
Oh, my
You know
word.
what I mean? On your mom's side, like,
anything.
That would be so awesome.
Yeah.
I think about my grandparents and just, the memories that I have of them, I'll have forever. And so I think it's vitally important that we make the right type of memories this time of year centered around Christ. I think some of my favorite memories growing up we did the same thing. Every Thanksgiving, we set up our Christmas tree. That was our tradition. Thanksgiving Day, we brought it out. We would
Oh,
spend
that's
time with
cool.
family in the evening. I remember we would be with the Millers and my mama and stuff like that. But yeah, it was very much that was our day. Dad had on football, and we would set up the Christmas tree. And I remember my parents always being in the best mood. Like it was, they made it fun. It was enjoyable. We did not have the extravagant, tree that everybody came. Oh my, it's so gorgeous. It was just colored lights and all the stuff. 1983 baby's first Christmas decoration, blah blah.
Yeah.
Just a ton of those on our tree. But for us kids, we really enjoyed that day.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I said this to our Life Stage group. We would set up on our Thanksgiving, and people in our neighborhood would mock my parents so hard that they are on Thanksgiving. Why are you guys setting those? Why are your lights on so early? That's just so early. Because people back then in the 80s and 90s would decorate like 2 weeks before Christmas. It's so weird, right? To think about.
Yeah, gosh, people start so early now.
Of course, people got real trees, and real trees did not last a month.
That's true.
And now it's before Halloween or the next, November 1st, everyone's stuff is up and they're ready to go. So I think that was a wonderful memory for me. Just my parents made it really fun. They, it was just we did not get toys and gifts throughout the year. Like we never went in Walmart and walked out with a toy like that I can remember ever. Birthdays and Christmas was the time that my parents went all out on gifts. They did really well. But I do believe one of the things that used to stress my parents out, they never argued in front of us, but it was just a lot of stress, was families getting to my dad's mom's, down in North Myrtle Beach, getting over to my great-grandparents' house in China Grove, my grandmother's house, my mom's side, getting together with all my cousins. Like, then mom and dad were always involved in the choir, and Christmas cantatas were like full-out plays back then.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't digitalized. It was,
Yeah.
I'm saying that right? Like, it was like a play.
Yeah.
It was like a
Yeah.
whole peanut butter Christmas. It was the whole thing.
Yeah.
And my parents always had parts. It was just the same old thing. Even back 40 years ago, people were so busy.
Yeah.
Like we just had. I think that we've got to get over here, then we've got to go see them. Then we got to. And at some point, they must have had a discussion, because I remember Christmas mornings were for us. No one was involved. It was our family, us 10, and no more. And it was very special. Like for many, many years, it was really awesome.
Yeah.
Really awesome.
That's cool. I do think we've kind of reached fever pitch with how busy we can possibly make ourselves. Not just you and I, but like culturally speaking. I was reading on like a Facebook post how there's other countries that do, they get like 2 gifts, 1 or 2. Like it's not about a Christmas tree packed with presents. It's just like if you see something for someone, you might pick them up a gift or 2, and it's just the day. Like you just celebrate on the day, and it's fine. And it's not like this huge commercialized thing.
Yeah.
And I thought in a lot of ways that would be really nice. I would love not to like riff off the movie Christmas with the Cranks, but that's pretty much me.
Just take a cruise.
I would not mind going on a cruise. But I mean, at the same time, like I do love like the musical this morning at church. I mean, it was wonderful. It was great. And you do hope it impacts someone, and it's a great draw to get people into church. I don't know. I still feel like I'm working through all of this in my mind as an adult. Like, when is it too much? At the same time, like, it's Christ's birthday. Like, it is. I mean, it's a time of year. If you're going to blow up anything, it may as well be the birth of our Savior. You know what I mean? If anything's going to be over celebrated, but are we focused on Him with all the gifts and everything? I don't know. It's confusing. It's part of me. Like, I grew up an American, so we do everything big. That's just how we are. That's our culture. It's awesome. It's fun. That's just who we are as a people. But at the same time, I do feel a pull towards simplicity and quietness
Yeah.
that, I've never felt before. You don't feel that as a kid because you don't care. But
Right.
I don't know. I'm still working through it.
Here's how I take it. I think everybody has to find what works for them and then do it.
Yeah.
There are some people that it's just big and they're all in and they love it and it
Yeah.
works for their family and that's incredible. And then there's others that we don't travel, we don't go anywhere, we give everybody 1, 2, 3 gifts and that's who we are and that works for them. I feel like at times if we're not careful, we become very judgy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you guys can get out more, or like, come on, like, get with the program. It's Christmas, and then there's that side where they're judging, like, you guys are too busy, like you're running yourselves in the ground, and everybody gets real super like we have,
The answer.
our niche. Yeah, we have the answer.
Yeah.
I think you just have to find what works for you.
Yeah.
And we've been married for 19 years. We've probably 20 Christmases we've spent together, including dating. And yet there are times that we continually adjust and there's times that we cut out things and we do. And I think you have to find what fits for you. And like you said, make memories, like make it special enough that I remember last year, right after a Christmas Eve service, we went downtown and it was freezing downtown,
that's
Indy.
Right.
Remember? And we walked around the circle and I mean, by the time we got back to the car, we were all frozen.
Yeah, it was so cold.
But do you know our kids still bring that up?
Do they?
Like I think it was Tommy asked me the other day, are we going downtown again?
We should
and I
do
said,
that.
yeah, like we absolutely should do that.
Yeah.
Then we were in the van the other day. We were all packed in the van because Carrie and I drive 2 cars almost everywhere now because of schedules. But we were all in the van and the girls brought up and said, remember we used to go look at Christmas lights? And I'm like, we're writing that down. Like, we're not going to miss out on this time of like still making those awesome memories that have worked for our family.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. They're wonderful. And our kids never forget it.
Yeah. I do think too, to throw a spiritual emphasis on it, I do think I want our kids to acknowledge this time of year as a spiritual time of year.
Yeah.
I sat up in the room with the twins the other night and Rose was like, I don't understand the Bible. I don't get it. It's too hard. Nora's like, I just don't read the Bible. I just read my devotion book because at least I can understand that. And we're laughing, so I'm walking them through like, you don't have to read the whole Bible while you're 10, I can help you find some passages that are easy and things like that. So we were walking through that as mother and daughters. And it was really good. And, Rose said, like, for Christmas, Mom, I want a devotional book that's easy to understand. And she's like, I just don't understand it. And so I said, you need a book that's, just 1 page a day and you read a verse and then it has a devotional thought and you can check it off each day. And she loved that idea. And, Nora's like, I don't want a devotional book. I just want to read the Bible. And I said, okay, well, we'll find you should start in the book of Proverbs and you just read like 2 verses a day and check it off. And and so we're just walking through that. And I thought this is a great time of year to focus in on a new devotional book or a new Bible or something like that keeps their focus on Christ. And I shared with them like, hey, I ordered for myself because, you guys didn't think to ask me what I wanted this year, which is a whole nother podcast I will be doing.
Wait, are you talking about me or are you talking about our kids?
Every one of you. Do you even know what's in my stocking?
Well, you want a new bed, so I don't think you fit that in there.
I'm just kidding. So I tell the girls, I'm like, hey, I ordered myself like a scripture writing journal where you
cool.
write verses out.
Yeah.
And I said, that's what I'm doing to help my spiritual life this year because I'm getting really busy and I'm starting to drop the ball on reading my Bible. I said, so this way I'm reading the Bible, but I'm writing it at the same time. And they love that. But I'm just sharing with them, hey, it's okay to keep growing spiritually. It's okay to change things up. It's okay to focus on your spiritual life. Even though we're busy, they've got exams, they have the school play, we've got church Christmas cantata, but we're taking the time to talk through how do we liven up our devotional life? How do we liven up getting to know God? And I loved that. I loved that moment with them. And I don't want to drop the ball on that with the kids. I don't want to drop the ball on, are we communicating with our Savior? Are we reading his words to us? Are we paying attention to our spiritual and mental health?
So good.
I
really believe that some of the greatest memories you can make whether you're a teenager listening to this or an adult raising kids or grandkids, some of the greatest memories you can make is making church a priority.
Yeah.
And being in church with your family, just worshiping Him, singing Christmas songs together. It's some of the greatest memories you can have. And I think it, once again, for a younger generation, is reminding them to take a break, like get off TikTok and YouTube for a little bit and realize what this season is all about.
Yeah.
And, we have remembered this birthday for over 2,000 years now because it is the King. It is our Christ. And man, just if you're a dad listening to this, one of the greatest things you could do is, a Christmas Eve service or find church somewhere that you're not making an excuse. Well, we've got a class party and then we've got a work party and then we've got this party, and cancel something, but make sure this season that you have your families in church, because if we're not careful, it does become all about the presents and the parties and the lights and the eggnog and the hot chocolate and family even, and not, all those things are great, but it's not what this season's about.
Yeah.
And you want to make memories around the Christ child, and that is Jesus for sure.
Yeah, I love that our kids are excited about New Year's.
Oh, wow.
I'm
Next episode.
I'm just done with Christmas already.
It's been a good one, Kara.
I love that they're excited about the Christmas Eve service. And I think we started that a couple years ago, and I started using that language around them. Like, what better place to be on Christmas Eve than church?
I love it.
We're literally celebrating the birth of Christ. I love going to church on Christmas Eve. I love the candlelight. I love singing. I love being with my family. And now they love it too.
It's so cool.
And it's really special. And I love that we have focused on that. That's something new we started doing. Me personally, not complaining about it.
You're not there yet, but you're almost there, Kara.
No, I said I no longer complain about this. I used to. Well, I always wanted to go to my family's.
Oh, I know.
And it would be late. But that's when we live far away. That's when we live far away. Now I'm better now.
You see your family every day. That's why.
God was like, you know what? I'm just going to put them in your backyard so you stop complaining.
And you still complain.
Hey, squeaky wheel gets the grease.
I guess so. Your prayer life's really strong. I'm like, really, God? Our backyard.
He's like, you're going to wish you had.
Oh, my word.
Just kidding.
Well, hey, from our family to yours, Merry Christmas. The next couple of weeks, we're just kind of touching on things that have been special to us, and I hope they're special to you as well. And drop us a note or a DM. Let us know kind of your family memories and what you do, and maybe you've got a tip or two you could add that we could pick up on for sure. But again, trust that you have a great and safe week, and keep living for Jesus for sure.
That's right. Have a great week.